athletes are suffering with anxiety, depression, grief, any of those emotions, we're making therapy normal, right? Counseling and therapy is normal.
All right, you guys, I am excited for this guest that I have here. I've had the pleasure of meeting her in action, doing what she's doing, speaking, in addition to just be able to follow her on social media and see all the great things she's doing. But if you know the names Lisa Nichols, if you know E.T., if you know Jeremy, that's just to name a few of the people that she's connected with in the network she's connected with as well. So I want you guys, please welcome my guest, Dr. Akeia Keith. We're going to get a whole name first. Doctor, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am well. I am well. Thank you so much for taking your time to come on Talkers Versus Door podcast. But we're going to jump right into it because you are empathy of what a door is. So for the people that don't know you, I want you to just give them a little sauce of who you are.
Okay, so I am a professional speaker. I've been speaking since I was 14, so it's second nature to me. Yet it's an ongoing learning process for me. But I also work with the WNBA as one of their chaplains, so that causes me to have to speak in the athletic space to professional athletes, and I've been doing that I've lost count. But I think I'm about at the 11th year doing that. And I work in schools with a mentoring program, and that is going phenomenal. It's continuing to increase across Georgia. So I'm looking forward to what this new school year will bring us. And what else do I do? It's a number of things that I do.
She does. It's amazing. Like she said, the mentoring, I've been watching it, as you said, grow with your the nonprofit of girls there. So that is amazing of what you're doing in that aspect. And also with the speakers, you are the president of your chapter too. So tell them about that.
Yeah. So I'm the president of Atlanta chapter with Next Level Speaking Academy, and that is going on. I do so much, y'all, but I think that's going on. I'm going on my second year doing that. And it just gives me an opportunity to build the confidence of speakers. And so far, like, it has been so phenomenal to see people take the stage and be able to give feedback. So being that I am a speech training coach, I do coach speakers to become the best version of themselves on the stage and off the stage. So that's another thing that I do. And honestly, I fell into that by accident. I did not even know that I had a gift of coaching speakers, but I found that gift about 2 or 3 years ago, and that has taken me so far. And just being, even with Lisa Nichols, I'm one of her transformational coaches, and I'm one of her speaker advocate coaches. So again, I'm coaching on that side as well. And I absolutely love it. I love to see people thrive in their gift. And I love to see that because of our stories, because of our confidence as a speaker, lives have been transformed and they have been impacted.
Yes, I love it. Everything you hear come out of our mouth is about impact, and transformation is definitely what we need, especially in the times that we are now. So I like to also ask from that of what made you start speaking? What led you into getting in that realm of speaking?
Oh, that's a tough question. So I started speaking at the age of 14.
Wow.
Now, I don't know if people are like familiar with how like the structure of a church is, but normally youth are selected to do certain things if you have that outgoing personality or if you appear to be a leader. So being that I had those aspects at such a young age, I found myself like teaching Sunday school. I found myself being the head of youth departments. And then from there, it went from me running, like, people would call and book me to run youth revivals. So that's how it all started. And it's so funny, like back then, I did not have as much as I wasn't nervous back then as
Right.
I am now when I get a call. But I've learned, like, since the age of 14, things have just continued to evolve. And it's my yes to my passion to see people win that has allotted me in specific areas in this arena.
And I love what you said of like we just do it, and me walking in the field of people saying you are a speaker, because I've been writing from that for a minute. It's just saying I love talking to people and being a blessing, and they just say you are a speaker. You're like, okay, well then I'm a speaker. I'm a speak. But as you said, the thing is, when we're walking into our faith and our blessing, we don't start getting scared until God say this is your duty, this is your job. Because when we're just doing it, we're having happy, we're fun. I was that one at school too that was just talk. But once it started, like the last couple of years, people like, we want you to host or speak. I'm like, I don't know about this, Lord. He's like, but you was a class clown. You act the fool. You did everything. I don't know about this now, Lord. But we sometimes run for that main thing that we know all our life. When we look back, God was already laying the foundation.
Correct.
I'll put that part in there from it. And again, like you said, right now you have been preparing and been in those different rooms to be able to get to this level. So from the aspect that you can just talk about, how has it been working with some amazing number one, speakers in the country? How has that just prepared you for the person and the impact that you're doing now?
Honestly, it's almost like it's a reminder, right? I feel like because of what I've done, the contact or the network that I have, it's God letting me know, like, Akeia, you're going in the right direction. And the fact that I've seen their story. And so it's like, oh, okay, if they can do it, I can do it too. And to be able to be amongst those people that is doing a phenomenal job in this speaking industry, once again, it's encouragement to me to learn the craft, learn what I'm doing. And just last night, I was telling our chapter on one of our Zoom calls is that I take this role of being a professional speaker and being a speaker to coaches very seriously, because I understand that people's destiny relies on what comes out of my mouth. So I have to be intentional about how I serve, how I show up. And so it's a lot that goes on in the background before I hit a stage, before I hit a classroom to run or to facilitate a workshop. There's a lot of preparation that goes in so that I can be the best version. So when I do have an opportunity to be in the same room with Jeremy Anderson, Iki Johnson, Eric Thomas, Lisa Nichols, it's a reminder that, Akeia, this is the work that you've chosen. This is the work that I've called you to do. So pay attention to what they're doing so you can replicate that.
Ooh, Doc just gave us a whole sermon right there. Like one particular thing that stood out is what you said. And yes, you guys, I know a lot of the athletes that I've told about this, and you guys are coming here to watch it. You hear us talking, but you also want to learn as well. Even though we're going to get to the part from our athletes of understanding the things that she said of what she's doing and what she's speaking is destined for other people. Like when you take on a role or leadership, even my athletes, you take on a role of leadership, say, I'm that team captain. What you do also affects your team members,
Mhm.
coaches. You take on a role and say, I'm that head coach. I'm that person. Your words, your action, how you treat these young ladies, it affects their destiny. She said
Mhm.
it, and she's around amazing people to understand and know the words that you put out can hinder or it can help. So you got to be
Mhm.
mindful of the things that you're doing. And I love that you said that of being so passionate about those things.
Yeah.
Go and with that, because being and running into this role of speaking, what are some challenges I would say you had just within yourself that just said, okay, I can overcome this and I'm going to succeed in this area because I know it's something God gave me to do?
I would say one of my biggest challenges would be um, establishing the confidence, right? Because a lot of, like you said, I'm around a lot of what they would say celebrity people. So to be in that room, because I grew up in poverty, so all of this stuff should not be happening if I followed what was before me. However, I've learned like it's okay to accept the call, but also know that when I'm accepting that call, there are going to be challenges. So confidence was one of my biggest challenges because I did not feel like I was worthy enough to do this type of work with the caliber of people that I have had to serve. But I've had to step back. Like it's an ongoing process. I did a lot of personal development that assisted me to get to this point, to know that I'm capable of doing the call. I'm capable of fulfilling the passion. But it was a challenge. Now, after I got past that, and I don't even want to say past because it's a constant journey for me to continue to build on my confidence, to know like, okay, Akeia, you made it this far with your confidence. Now you got to keep building that confidence, not to the point of I become arrogant, but at the same time, know that I do have something to say, that my voice will bring transformation, that my voice will bring impact. And I know that for certain, like I have receipts to prove that. So now that God has shown me that, okay, here are the results that you produce. Now you rinse and repeat. So now that I understand the ability of confidence, I give confidence to other people. Like I help them develop their confidence. And what another challenge that I would say would be understanding that it's important for me to practice. So a lot of times people, they coin that term of practice makes perfect. And it actually makes me cringe when people say that, because I feel like when people say practice makes perfect, there's no room for improvement. But for me on this journey, there's always room for improvement. So I coined the term practice makes better. So when I get to the point of being better, I already know there's another level to my betterness, even if that's a word, I just made it up. But there's another level. There's another level for me to get to. And that's another challenge that I just have to be aware of, is that one, I must always remain coachable. That's so important in my role that I carry, is that I have mentors and coaches for a reason. So if they come to me to like redirect me or give me insight, at that point, I have to be coachable. I have to be receptive so that I can make my life better.
I love it. And as y'all see with your work, walking in purpose, everything just still it align. Like everything is still aligning to what we're talking about of being coachable, walking how you should as it relates to your field and where you're at and what you're doing. And as we talk about challenges, we want to go into the epic side of where I know a lot of my athletes are like, okay, what we're going to talk about on that part. First, just going into how did you actually get into becoming a chaplain for the WNBA? Like, what was that? How did that come in? Even though we know we've heard the backside of you say, hey, you was over different things as the youth when you're church, but how did that come about?
So it's all about networking, right? I just happened to like volunteer a lot before I was even chosen to be a chaplain. So I would just go and serve. That I have a servant heart. So I would go and serve at different events. And when it got to a point where they were looking for another chaplain, because of my heart of servitude, I got that call. And it honestly, it was like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. And they were like, hey, Akeia, the WNBA, they're looking for another chaplain, and we believe that you will be a great fit considering the work that you've already done with the WNBA. And that's how it happened. It's about networking. And a lot of times people, they sleep on the idea of collaborating and networking. But if people don't know you exist, they won't know where to place you or where to give you an opportunity at. So I found myself being able to put myself in specific places so that people will know who I am and what I'm capable of doing and producing transformation and impact in other people.
Come on. Yeah, I just love it. I'm so glad that we have been able to connect and just get on this platform. And Lord knows many more just to hear how you provide, because you provided just in a simple form for people to understand that the work that you do will produce fruit, but you got to put the work in.
Right. And
And
I wanted to add one more thing is that with the WNBA, one of the people that called me was a mentor, right? So when you work with great people, like they look out for you in regards to they know that you've been working on your character. They know that you've been working on like just showing up in a room. So
yeah.
when you connect your destiny to people that can place you in different places, like that's the best thing. I've learned that for years to come is that it's always important to follow those people that's doing what you want to do, and that's how that's how the WNBA happened for me.
Oh my gosh. Love it. Love it.
Mhm.
And going more into that, this podcast is talking to our Jules, but it's all about people that are doing amazing things as it relates to within the field of women's sports and all those exchange of areas. And you talked about challenges also. And one of the biggest things with a lot of our female athletes is believe is just me. I'm the only one who's going through this. No one
Mhm.
else is going through this. So speaking as someone that goes in and speak, talk, and pray over these women, can you speak about that they are too struggling with challenges and things, but it's their perseverance of I'm not going to stop to let them know you're in the rooms with them and you
Mhm.
see that they have challenges as too, but you got to keep going.
Mhm. Yeah, challenges are going to exist. What I've learned with athletes, a lot of times, depending on their status, like if you are, whether you're the captain or just a player on a team, that's a lot of, what can I say? That's a lot of, what word do I want to use here? That is a lot. I'll just say it's a challenge, right? Because people look up to you. That's a lot of expectation. So a lot of times when people are or athletes are suffering with anxiety, depression, grief, any of those emotions, you all like separate yourselves thinking, like coach said, that you're the only one. And it's not the fact that you're the only one, it's just the fact that you all have a certain status to fulfill, so you don't want to seem like you're the weakest link. But the truth of the matter is, we're as strong as the next person connected to us. So what we're training athletes to do is be okay with speaking up. If you don't want to do it in a large crowd, pull a coach to the side, pull someone that you trust to the side to let them know what you're trying to filter through so that they can assist you. Now, if it's not anyone in your circle that can help you, definitely reach out. I have so many athletes that it's okay. Like we're making therapy normal, right? Counseling and therapy is normal. So if that is needed, if that's the missing component to help you excuse me, help you navigate through your depression or your grief or whatever it could be, if that's the missing component, be okay with reaching out to that resource. So if any athletes out there that hear this, if you are in need of that type of service, like I definitely have the connections that would or could assist you to navigate through those things.
Most definitely. That is our most important factor that we want to make sure as athletes, you guys are feel seen and heard with the
Mm-hmm.
things that you are challenging with. And as she said, that everybody goes through some form of challenge or things that happen to them. And I know that you've been doing this for quite a while, as you see. How have you seen the growth of women's sports as it relates to them being more of implementing mental health and different strategies of that nature? Because it's really and truly, we're going to say it's still taboo. A lot of people are still running away from it, but it's getting more into our sports now. So since
Mm-hmm.
you've been working with sports, have you seen a growth in, better of some of these athletes because they have those outlets and places that they can speak about those things?
Oh yeah, definitely. Those that I've seen, whether they come to chapel, and I would say like with our professional athletes with the WNBA, they travel a lot. So a lot of times, coming to chapel is their safe place, right? That's their moment of when they receive some type of relief or where they receive some type of insight of what they're facing. So what I've seen is that when we start working on character, when we start working on any challenges in life. Like I said, we have people that lose loved ones, or they have to move from one state to the other, that transition period. Like there's so many things that happens. However, what I've seen is that when you reach out or connect yourself with reliable resources, I've seen that player show up a better player, right? Teamwork is better because everyone is on that same playing field. Whether they know, okay, my teammate is going through a certain thing right now. That's why she responded the way that she normally wouldn't respond. I find them supporting each other, and they show up in a bigger way when they get on that court. So what I've seen, and then another big thing that I've seen is that the athletes have embraced the idea that I am more than just basketball, right? And so they've started writing books. They've started starting businesses, like all kinds of things, because they know that, yes, I love this sport and I show up big in this area. But however, I understand that I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life. Because truth be told, honey, by the time you fall on that court a few times, that body is toe up. But you know,
what you say?
Right. Obviously, they have things in place to accommodate that, but they're realizing that sports or basketball is not the only thing that I'm good at. And so I've seen them expand when they tap into their true identity, their true authentic self. They show up bigger in the world and they start doing more things than just sports.
I love it. Being around a circle, being around a great community of people, and being able to be vulnerable and talk about those different things, I think is one of the big things I hope you guys got from that information, because she spoke about, character development, other things that they speak about in that area. So it's not just picking up a ball saying I'm going to practice. It's not just picking up a ball and saying I'm ready for a game, but it's so much that entails with those things. And also, I'm excited to what are your thoughts of where women's sports is headed? Because you've been around in Atlanta. So you've seen the nick of the growing. Where do you think women's sports is headed to currently?
I feel like they're headed in the direction of where like the NBA is, right? True enough, NBA players, they may get bigger salaries than the women, which that's heartbreaking within itself. But I do know the women's sport in general is fighting for a status because we've been around for a very long time. So I see more unity, I see more clarity going forward. And even I would say women's sports in general, there's a major collective agenda to make women's sports like a big thing. It's already big, but just to get what's due to us as women, because a lot of times we're at the bottom of the totem pole, but just like the men, we have something to say. We have something to offer the world. And I've seen various organizations like couple with the WNBA. Even our games are totally different now. I like the fact that women athletes or the women's sports in general are starting to own more things. Like for the Atlanta Dream, we actually have our own like stadium now. And that was a big thing for us because we used to share with the NBA. But now we have our own little Gateway Center in Atlanta by the airport, and it's amazing to walk in there and see nothing but Atlanta Dream. That's
it.
a big
I gotta get there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be on the sidelines. Lord is working. I'm gonna be connected more with all.
It is a blessing just to walk in there and see like this is what women in sports to be specifically have like created, right? Yeah. Like even one of our owners of our team for Atlanta Dream, she used to be a player. So that's the evolving that we're seeing, is that women are starting to own more things. Women are starting to like show up in bigger spaces in this world. And I mean, that's I love to see it, and I definitely support it.
I love it. And yeah, I'm excited, especially just with the All-Star games this weekend, just to see the
Mhm.
competitive how they was, but also the love that was shown to and to continue to see the growing numbers of the
Yeah,
representation and just people getting together. It's just amazing thing to see. Like you said, it's past due as a formal collegiate player, formal coach, and all those to see it now. It's like waking up and you that dream you wish when you was a little girl. You're like, oh my gosh, it's here. I'm not in that one, but I'm still here to just
yeah,
to see the growth and seeing other young people that I had the pleasure and blessing to coach as they're going through those stairs.
yeah,
So with that, as we're saying those things, because you guys, I'll be here all day because the conversation is just so great of what we're talking about. I want to start wrapping up with just asking you to just provide some form of information or transformation of what you do to that female player that is sitting there saying, you know what, I don't think I have what it takes because they just don't have that faith or they believe in themselves, and they just need some words of encouragement from someone that has been around players on that level of professionalism to know that, hey, you have it too. I see these women, but you can do it too.
yeah. And that's one thing that I definitely wanted to speak to in regards to like being any type of athlete, especially a woman athlete. Like people look up to you, whether they're an adult or a kid. I have kids that come to the games and they're like, oh my God, I want to be just like her. So I know that that sounds like a big responsibility. Yet at the same time, if you are a part of a team, that lets me know that you have great leadership qualities. And one thing that I love for athletes to be aware of is that obviously, yes, people are always looking at you. So that means that your character has to be on point. Your behavior as a team player has to be on point. Your attitude has to be on point. But what I want to encourage you with as well is that you have what it takes. There's no way, and I tell my WNBA players all the time, there's no way I could be running up and down that court. There's no way because that it takes a lot. So if you're on a team, like you are amazing and you have what it takes. As far as the practices goes, I know they're long, they're drawn out. It
Yes.
takes a lot of you to show up, but the fact that you have the power and the ability to show up, like this, pretty much the sport chose you. Like when you accept the fact that you're good at what you do, like the sport chose you. And
Wow.
whatever comes along with that, you put it being in the spotlight of a leader, that means that you have to show up big. And the fact that you have been accepted on the team lets me know that you have what it takes. So I'm speaking to your courage, your character, your attitude to know like it doesn't stop here. This is just the beginning. So
Yeah.
it builds your character, it builds your personal development when you're able to work with different personalities when it comes to your coaches or even with your team. Like it takes a lot to deal with those different personalities. But just be aware that you have what it takes and God has put you there to bring change and bring awareness in women's sports.
I love it. Well, if y'all ain't got nothing else, I know y'all got those words there of it. You are in that for a reason. You're
Yeah,
in that school for a reason, and
yeah,
it's definitely on it. And I actually was gonna have you to piggyback, but I think you provided that already for the coaches of just giving them lasting words too of like they're purpose driven. As I always say, coaches is it's a purpose driven job. And
yeah,
whenever God puts you around his children or over his children and steward them, you want to take that responsibility well on that part, kind of what we talked about earlier. But I think you kind of wrap that up with them too
yeah.
as in that. So we definitely want to thank you for coming on Talkers versus Duels. I want to personally thank you for being that door. I've been blessed to see you at one spot, and you've been the same person every time I see you in any environment. So just thank you for being a vessel of God and doing what you're doing. Because I'm excited to connect and keep going. I don't know what it is yet, but God, He mysterious and how He make things work.
Right,
So
right.
so also with that said, what are some things that you have coming up that you would like to let the people know about? That you will be gearing any, and also the social media platforms where they can follow you.
Yes, so my social media platform is Akeia_Keith, and it's the same thing on Facebook. You can just type in my name and you'll find me there. As far as what I have coming up, I'm actually headed to do a youth camp with Lisa Nichols and her son next week. So I look forward to doing that. And I have to speak on August 18th, I believe, for Dr. Hammond. So I look forward to those two big things back to back.
Mhm.
And in the future, I'm looking to create like a safe space for ladies and girls to come to like a conference. So I'll be working on that soon. And that's all I have coming up at the moment.
I love it. And you guys will see the flyer too for August the 14th. She got so much stuff going on. Also, August the 14th, she has an event that's going on that will be virtual. So I have
Mhm.
that flyer and I'm going to make sure be posted. Anybody that comes on the podcast, we always just make sure on our Talkers Verse Door page, which is on Instagram and Facebook, we run that through our actual stories because we want to make sure that we are supporting as you guys are supporting us too.
I
So
appreciate it.
anything that you have going on, no matter, even if it's not the time frame you have spoke, just give it to us and we will love to just share it out to different people as well. So again, thank you, Doc, for coming on and sharing. We definitely will be bringing you back on. I'm sure some of my young ladies going to be like, hey, we want to know more about what she's doing. She's working with the WNBA, so we need to get more. So I'm sure you guys, we will do a part two. But from their information that you've gathered, drop a comment, ask any questions. I will make sure I direct it and give it to her. If you have any thoughts or anything of that nature, please don't hesitate to comment. As she said, networking is so vital and just not being afraid to speak and
Yes.
acts. It can get you a long way. But thank you guys for tuning in. As always, it's your girl, Coach Perry. And y'all know what it is. Don't talk about change. Be a doer change. Why? Because you deserve it. Y'all have a good one and see you on the next one. And wait. Make sure you click on the next video.